I've kind of thought long and hard about this, and I've, along with the mayor, we've been, since he came in 06? 08? Okay. I was attending council meetings before I actually got on council and saw a little bit of the developers at that time that wanted to do the public-private partnership route. And for whatever reason, the city was never able to afford to go into the financial position of supporting that type of thing. And then, of course, the economy at that time went south, and pretty much it was a situation where pretty much the city would have been bankrupted, or would have been using a large amount of SPLOST funds to support our portion of whatever development took place. And I think that's what has prevented the city from moving in with something that's been presented over the 5, 6, however many years it's been going on. So I still don't believe that the city is in a position to really, even with a smaller parcel size as presented here, financially support anything, especially as we're looking at the next SPLOST in November, possibly not even being voted in. And I know we have roughly like about 20 employees with the city. 15, I'm sorry. That was just a wild guess. I don't know that the city can risk putting the city into bankruptcy and putting 15 people out of work, especially not knowing the surety of another SPLOST issue in November. I've felt over the last 3 months or so that this is really an issue between those that would want to save and develop the mill and the current property owners. I think as a small city, I think our hands are tied financially, and as far as having the resources to do something. I think everybody out there would love to see us be able to move some city offices into that building and to do something as a partnership, but I just don't think financially as a city we can do that. So really, and the one thing I guess I was looking for tonight was maybe one of the people that y'all have gotten into contact with, maybe some of these people, not to present a specific, this is exactly what we're going to do, but maybe more of a, not more of a specific plan, but something saying, you know, we've got 2 or 3 people that are, you know, looking at doing this. I did hear you say that they said basically that the price was too high. So unfortunately, we obviously can't have any determination in what the property owner set for their land. And another thing that was kind of questioned in my mind was when the original mill is exposed, if we were to approve the demo of the outlying buildings, was who is going to be responsible for the stabilization, all these other outlying things. So there's a lot of kind of gray area when it exists there. So I really struggled with 2 things. I struggled with more time versus how long can we as a government entity or a city prevent private property owners from doing something with property that they legally own and bought, regardless of whether it's a historical building or how old it is or how young it is. I struggle with that because I don't believe we as a government entity should be telling private people what they can and can't do with something that they own. So, you know, I threw everything in my head and I tried to come up with a compromise situation. So what I decided was, you know, can we do more time to give these 2 groups to talk to each other? Because honestly, as a city, we're just pretty much at our wits' end, regardless of us having more money and more resources, or something on paper that doesn't put the financial, you know, situation of the city at risk. I'm sure if that happens at a later date, we could go back and say, okay, well maybe we could feasibly do this. But right now, unfortunately, we don't have anything more specific that says, you know, here's what could possibly take place. So really, at this point, and I know the owners said that in their statement that during the time before the demolition would actually occur, you would still be in contact with anybody who is interested in developing the property. So, and this is, and I'm going to put this in the form of a motion, unless there's any other discussion. You know, I really struggle with that point of time versus how much can we hold back the property owners from doing with what they own, what they want. So I came up with a motion today, and I'll read it as I see it, and then we'll see if there's any further discussion, or if anybody else has any ideas, or if anybody would like to say anything before I make this motion. If anybody has any input.
I'll say something. I don't really have a motion or anything. But I feel like we should at least talk about how we feel up here, because you've come and presented everything to us multiple times, and it's really a tough decision because my family, actually my mom, every year we go to a cotton mill reunion up near Tifton, where I'm from, and so you know every year we have great food and get to fellowship with all the families that were, you know, that lived on the cotton mill. Of course, she was like 2 or 3 when they moved away. But so I understand that part of it, and I almost kind of feel like I have a connection to it just based off of the family ties there. But then I also see the property owners and, you know, how much money they're probably having to pour into this, and how, you know, when you just don't have it anymore, who are we to say that you have to keep doing something when you just don't have it anymore? I mean, I think, you know, if they had the money, they would do it. And it's heartbreaking, because on one side I see your point, and I would love to save the mill, and I'm not even saying my decision yet, because I want to hear Bill's motion, because I understand both points. Like, I get that. I get why you would want to save it, and I get the history of it, and I understand all of that, and then I also understand if you don't have the money, you just can't do it anymore. I mean, and as a city, I would love if we could step in and we could do something with it, but we don't have the money, and, you know, in the end, it comes down to that. So I just felt like, I haven't really said anything throughout the whole process, and I just didn't want to look cold-hearted when I vote or anything. And I promise, my heart's in it. I understand that. I don't want to. Anyway, I understand your point. Now, I wish everybody the best in whatever the outcome comes.